Well, hi everybody from Toronto, Canada. I'm actually up here doing a 4-day training session with Dr. Sue Johnson, who's the founder of Emotionally Focused Therapy. And we just got done with our first morning. It was a little bit like drinking from a fire hose, but I wanted to tell you about her. My favorite quote of hers from the day was, "Couples are inherently incompatible." And I just cracked up. I wrote that down. I thought it was really funny. And she went on to say that all couples have conflict and get into conflicts. And if they don't, then they're not on the dance floor together. And I just thought that was a lovely way of putting it, right? It's like, if you're not getting into conflicts, you're not bringing what's real with each other. So she said something that the Gottmans also say, which is that it's more important to repair than it is whether or not you have conflicts. So one of the things I wanted to talk about is actually how one of the steps that she actually helps couples repair around. And it's going a level up to look at the meta pattern that's actually happening in the conflict. Because if you take one or two or three or more of your conflicts and you trace it back, you're going to see that there's emotional patterns that you get into. So the conflict is just the symptom, but what really matters is the emotional disconnection. And that's really at the core of all conflicts. And it's like looking at our attachment styles, right? When we get emotionally disconnected, we've learned certain behaviors that happen over and over again. So I want to just describe one of these patterns that she talks about that is really common for couples to get stuck in. And it's the pursue, withdraw pattern. So basically what that looks like is usually the pursuer is starting this pattern, and the pursuer is upset with something that the other partner has done. And so they'll push, or they'll attack, or they'll criticize, right? There's a certain way that the pursuer goes in. And really what's underlying this, and this is what I love, what's underlying this is that there's a protest behavior. It's like, wait a minute, I need you. I need you to do this. I need you to connect with me, right? Because it's really all about emotional disconnection. So if you can look at the behavior in terms of that it's this protest behavior, I think it makes it a little bit more understandable. And then the one who withdraws, right, because you're going like this, the one who withdraws, it's also a protest behavior. And the withdrawer is basically saying, I'm not bad. I didn't do anything wrong. And if I keep listening to you, I'm going to feel shame and I'm going to feel disconnected. So I'm just going to shut down to protect myself. And of course, in shutting down, then we shut the other person out. But really, both people are just responding from their learned behavior around how they had to cope with upsets in our attachment styles. So what, what there is to do then is to watch for that. Like, oh, we're doing it again. Right, we're doing that spiral where one of us is pursuing and the other one's withdrawing. Let's take a step back, right? Let's look at what's really going on. And the other thing I just want to mention that I think is really important is in the emotional dance, the pursuer often looks angry and the withdrawer often looks aloof. So if we can get a little bit vulnerable and go, oh, what's going on underneath that? Usually it could be fear, it could be sadness, it could be hurt, but it's a lot easier to show anger and aloof. So that would be a great question for each of you to ask is, what's underneath it? Because I know for me, I generally I'm the pusher, the attacker, the criticizer in my relationship with Mark. And so it comes across as angry, but what's underneath that for me is this like longing, like this sadness. And when we come back, right, when we do that repair around the relationship, if I can soften and say something like, honey, when this happened, what I was really wanting was connection with you. And I got scared because I was feeling disconnected. That's so much easier to hear, right? Than, why didn't you? Rawr, rawr, rawr. So a bunch. I could be doing videos on this for months. So Just wanted to give you a little tidbit today because it's Wednesday, so I can get this sent off. So again, we got to laugh a little bit, right? Couples are inherently incompatible. It is kind of funny when you think about it. So wishing you all the best, and we'll see you next time. Bye.